Hi guys, I just want to do some porch rant. I was thinking of something, a theory. John Nash, the guy that Russell Crowe played in A Beautiful Mind, had a bargaining theory that won him a Nobel Prize. And the Buddhists have a thing they call the middle way. And there's something I'm going to call the third alternative. It's like a compromise between the normal two alternatives, both of which lead to the loser. But the third alternative leads to winning. And I want to talk about this in the context of heaven and hell. I know people think I talk a lot about religion, but whatever. The two traditional ways of looking at, there's two ways of looking at heaven and hell that don't work, and they're the most common ways. One way is to want to go to heaven, but there's two choices within that. If you want to go to heaven and you do good all your life and go to heaven, guess why you lose? Because you did good all your life, which means you didn't really enjoy your life. So fucking what if you got into heaven? You didn't do anything on earth. You didn't enjoy your life. You weren't being you. You weren't being true to yourself. So wanting to go to heaven and going to heaven is a loser. Now the second choice that's a loser is if you want to go to heaven but you screw up and go to hell. Well, that's automatically a loser because you wanted to go to heaven. So by definition, you lost because you went to hell, even though you enjoyed your life. So both the first two options I just named are losers. The only winning option is the third one, the one I take. Want to go to hell and do all the sin you can while you're here. That's the only way to win. John Nash's bargaining theory, well, this is my version of that. It's when it comes to heaven and hell. The only way to win is to want to go to hell and enjoy your life while you're here. If you go to hell, you wanted that. Who cares? Who cares? You accept hell, it's not a punishment anymore. You accept it, it's no longer torture. And plus, you live your life fully. If you want to go to hell and do all the sin you can while you're on earth and you go to heaven by mistake, then you're still a winner because you did all you could on earth to have your fun and you ended up in heaven anyway, so what's the point? Fine with me. The only way to win is to want to go to hell. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. You already want that, and then live your life as sinfully and do whatever you want as you can on earth. It's the only way to win. It's like John Nash's bargaining theory was that you can't do just what's good for you, but you can't just do what's good for the group. You have to do what's good for you and the group. You can't just want to go to heaven. Either way, you blow it. Either you get to heaven, but you wasted your life, or you live your life and you go to hell. The only way to win is to want to go to hell and live your life. If you go to heaven by mistake, you didn't lose anything. If you go to hell, you wanted that anyway, and you live your life the way you wanted to. That's all good. And I call that the third alternative. Extreme, the band Extreme had an album called, I gotta put my ears in a second probably. Extreme had an album called Three Sides to Every Story. It was called, and on the cover it said yours, mine, and the truth. As if he's talking about a third alternative. The first wrong idea is what I think is right. The second wrong idea is what you think is right. The third right idea, the only right idea, is what neither one of us think is right. So that's my even if there's a heaven and hell, that's my solution. Just want to go to hell anyway, and just live it up while you're here. You can't lose if you go to hell because you already expected that and you already accepted it. If you go to heaven by mistake, so fucking what? So you're in heaven, big deal. You don't lose anything there either. It's the only way to win. They portrayed this in the movie A Beautiful Mind by the bar scene. John Nash and some of his friends were at a bar, and there was a pretty blonde girl, and then there's other girls that weren't as pretty. So John Nash figures it out. He figures out, well, if we all go to try to get the beautiful girl, no one's going to get her because she won't know who to decide, and well, none of us will get her, so we'll all go home without getting laid. But then at that point, if we all turn to the not so good pretty girls and each ask them for a date, they'll say no because they know we chose the other girl first, so they all go home without getting laid. The only way to get laid is nobody goes for the blonde, just go for the other girls. That way nobody blocks each other trying to get the blonde, and nobody upsets the other girls by making them all second choice. Beautiful genius idea. They won him the Nobel Prize. Not just that idea about the bar scene. That's just an illustration of it. But he did a mathematical reworking of economic theory. Great, awesome. I don't claim to be. He was great. You know, he died a while ago. I don't remember how long ago, but it was a while ago. So there's that as applied to the third alternative theory. It's similar to that. The best only winning move is to want to go to hell, and then do what you want. It's the only way to resolve the conflict. Otherwise, you live your life in paralyzing fear, or you waste it in piety, or you live it up and go the other way you didn't want to go. The only winning way is to want to go to hell and live your life however you want it. Satanism, if there's a God, Satanism is the only logical religion. If there's not a God, then Buddhism is. Fair enough? Either Buddhism/atheism. Well, atheism is just there's no God doesn't mean you can't do any religion, so Buddhism is great. Or Satanism. It's the only two religions that make sense. If there's no God, it makes sense not to worship him, therefore Buddhism makes sense. Not only that, Buddhism is a good religion. I really like the Buddhists. I studied it starting in, now I hear comes a plane. I studied it and I started, the way I found Buddhism was interesting. It was 1988 or 89, one of the two. I think it was 88. I was walking around my hometown, and back in the day, girls would just pick you up for a ride. I mean, it wasn't like today when everyone's all spooked out of their skulls. A couple of cute girls picked me up and took me to the Buddhist temple, and I studied Buddhism for 2 years before I even thought about studying the Bible. After going to church for 17 years against my will, LOL. And Buddhism to this day still makes the most sense, other than Satanism. I studied Christianity though because I couldn't leave that stone unturned. You can't just go for what you want. You have to know what you don't want. Know it too. That way you can't be swayed, and you know why you believe what you do, and you've already tested all the other alternatives, and you know they're wrong. So you actually do step into knowledge and fearlessness. If you just skip a step, you don't. You never know what you might have missed. So anyway, live against peace, love, and rock and roll.